Oh, yeah. Is it Saturday already? Have we made it through yet another week of Star Wars news, Star Wars madness, if you will? We got some insane stuff to talk about today, but this week in and of itself has just been insane. We're talking about Starfighter, sorry, trilogy with Ryan Gosling leading his own trilogy. We talked about The Mandalorian and having Ahsoka leaks with Anakin Skywalker's Force Ghost versus Baylan Skoll, or possibly even a flashback to Order 66 again. We've got some incredible news to talk about today. Cobb Vanth could be returning as Timothy Olyphant, the actor who plays Cobb Vanth, has been talking Star Wars and even more Old Republic remake leaks, Knights of the Old Republic remakes leaks, and Cal Kestis. If that's not enough, we're talking even Cal Kestis today. So without further ado, let's dive into all of it. What's up, everybody? How's it been doing on this fine Saturday afternoon, evening? It's evening. Evening. Yes, we got a later stream today, but that doesn't mean we don't have news to talk about. I just had something going on this afternoon, so I couldn't get to live stream until now. I just got home a little bit ago. But we got some insane news to talk about today. Timothy Olyphant, Cameron Monaghan, Cal Kestis, and even Keira Knightley. Yeah, that's right. A name we haven't heard in a long time in conversations around Star Wars has returned. Somehow, Keira Knightley has returned. But we got a lot of craziness to talk about today. It's been a wild week for Star Wars news. It's been a wild couple weeks. Mando trailer, Visions Volume 3 trailer. We even got Rebuild the Galaxy Season 2 not that long ago. And Visions Volume 3 comes out in a couple weeks. It's crazy times around here. We got trilogies coming out the wazoo, a Mando trilogy, a Ryan Gosling trilogy, a Simon Kinberg trilogy, trilogies on trilogies. You get a trilogy, you get a trilogy, we all get trilogies. But before we dive into any of that, let's say hi to everybody in the chat, shall we? Shall we? Adam, what is up? Holly, how we doing? Steve in the house. Brandon Baker, what is up? Starship 66, how we doing? Ian, what is up? Mariano's Goat. Nice. Great name. How we doing? Austin Snow in the house. Darth Plagueis lives. What is up? Lobo, how we doing? Jeannie from Tahini, what is up? Not a Fed. Still don't believe you. Lawrence, what is up? Officer Murdoch, how we doing? Navarro in the house. 50 Thunderer, what is up? All right. If I missed you, you know the deal. Just yell at me in the chat. Let's give everybody a nice little,
Hello there.
General Kenobi.
Okay, so I feel like we got to start with this whole. Actually, I don't know. Kind of want to start with the Cal Kestis stuff. I don't know. We are also celebrating, by the way, the 2-year anniversary of Ahsoka. Ahsoka season 1 ended 2 years ago today, maybe yesterday. 2 years ago today. Let's just say that for easier purposes. Ahsoka season 1 ended 2 years ago. That means there will be 3 years in between seasons of Ahsoka Season 1 and Ahsoka Season 2. But, we do have Ahsoka leaks that came out this week that got me hyped up. And we're celebrating 2 years of probably the greatest show to ever exist, but that's just my personal opinion. Okay. Yeah, 2 years, I know. 2 years. It's been a while. Feels like just yesterday we were doing the Ahsoka watch parties, but it was 2 years ago. 2 years. All this trilogy talk has me worried? What? Why? We need more Timothy Olyphant. All right, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. All right. I think we got to start with, I don't know. What should we start with? We got Old Republic. We got Mandalorian and Grogu / Timothy Olyphant. We got Cal Kestis, Keira Knightley. Where do we start, chat? Where do you guys want to start? I'm leaving it up to you today. Bad idea, but we're doing it anyway. I'm leaving it up to you. Because I'm afraid we're not getting all of them. We probably won't get all of them, but hopefully some of them. Hopefully some of them. Yeah. I found this channel because of Ahsoka. Well, there you go. That's some good news. Yeah. KOTOR remake got canceled? No. It did not get canceled. but maybe. Start with the Mandalorian and Grogu and Timothy Olyphant stuff? Okay, fine. We'll start with the Cobb Vanth of it all, shall we? Let's start with that. Okay, let me first put this up in the chat. Let's start with the poll. Let's start it the way we're supposed to, with the poll. All right, let's do this. Hang on, Jen. Boop. Boop, 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 boop. All right. First and foremost, tell me in the chat, do you want Cobb Vanth back in Star Wars? Now, some of you might be like, who the hell is Cobb Vanth? I'm like, Cobb Vanth, a honestly fan favorite of mine from the Mandoverse, played by Timothy Olyphant. He is first introduced in Mando Season 2. The man who took Boba Fett's armor after he crawled his way out of the Sarlacc pit. He took it from some Jawas, or bought it from some Jawas, and became the Marshal of Freetown on Tatooine. Quickly becomes a fan favorite character. Din Djarin gets the armor for Boba Fett off of Cobb Vanth, and he still remains a badass Marshal until the one, the only, Cad freaking Bane rolls into town and kills him. Somehow Cobb Vanth returns. He shoots him in this epic showdown in the desert, and he survives in a Bacta tank at Boba Fett's palace on Tatooine. So that's the last time we saw Cobb Vanth. That was 3 years ago. 3 years ago was the last time we saw Cobb Vanth in the post-credit scene of the Book of Boba Fett. So it's been a while. So let me put up a poll in the chat. I forgot to put up the poll. Let me put up a poll. If you haven't smashed a freaking like on this stream, I don't know what the hell you're waiting for. Smash a freaking like on this stream. Okay. And let's do this. Do you want Cobb Vanth back in Star Wars? And, well, it's just yes or no on the poll. And if so, where? Do you think he'll show up in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie? Honestly, that sounds a little far-fetched at this point. I don't know. It depends on whether or not the Mandalorian and Grogu is going to go down the road of bringing in a bunch of characters like Bo-Katan, Boba Fett, the Vespa Gang, Black Chrysanthemum, Fennec Shand, all those other great people. If it does go down that road, then yeah, sure, we'll see Cobb Vanth, but I don't think it will. So honestly, we probably won't be seeing Cobb Vanth in 2026 because he probably won't be in Ahsoka Season 2 either. However, if the Mandalorian and Grogu movie is to be a trilogy, like we all believe it will be, and like Lucasfilm thinks it should be, then probably in the second and third movies, the second and third installments of the Mandoverse trilogy, we will see Cobb Vanth, right? Maybe. So, with that being said, where do you think we will see Cobb Vanth next? No Cobb in Mando Season 3 or Skeleton Crew was sad. Yeah, I mean, there wasn't really a place for him in Mando Season 3 because Boba Fett's not in Mando Season 3 either. Or Fennec and the Vespa Gang. So, it didn't really make much sense for him to show up in that. But, if we assume that this Avengers Assemble moment for Star Wars is going to happen at some point in this Mandoverse, you think Cobb Vanth has got to be there. You know, he's like the... I don't know. Who would he be like for an Avenger? Doctor Strange? No. That's too important of a character. Who's more of like a back... He's like the... Star-Lord. No. He's like the... Wong. Yeah. He's like the Wong. Because his friend is Doctor Strange and like Din Djarin's kind of like Doctor Strange. What happened? It didn't like my Wong analogy. Yeah. But Cobb Vanth would definitely be there for that Avengers level. He's like Hawkeye. Okay, that's not bad. He's like Hawkeye. That's pretty good. They only win with Hawkeye, so he's got to be there. They lose if Hawkeye's not there. There you go. See, you guys get me. See, that's an analogy that nobody else would understand. Hawkeye's pretty good. I like that. Hawkeye. Yeah. So, he's like the Hawkeye. And you can't have an Avengers Assemble moment without Hawkeye being there. You know, he's like Ant-Man. Nah, not Ant-Man. We'll get it eventually. Hawkeye's pretty good. Hawkeye's okay. Yeah. But let's talk about it. Why is this coming up now? Why are people talking about Cobb Vanth all of a sudden after 2 years of this character not appearing at all? Well, let's talk about it. So, Timothy Olyphant has sparked the flame that'll destroy the First Order. No. Spark that lights the flame that lights the house that burns the... You know what I'm talking about. Okay, so Timothy Olyphant still asks the Mandalorian showrunners about Cobb Vanth's future. This just happened. Timothy Olyphant has revealed in this new interview that he still asks Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, two goats by the way, about what's next for Cobb Vanth, his character from The Mandalorian in the Book of Boba Fett. So, if this is the case, and on the daily basis, okay, maybe not the daily basis, but on a regular basis, he's asking John and Dave, reminding them about this character of Cobb Vanth, I'm sure that they're not going to just throw him to the sideline. A character who, again, became a fan favorite pretty quickly after Mando Season 2 in the Book of Boba Fett and hasn't appeared since. And neither has Boba Fett, honestly. So those characters from Tatooine, the Tatooine dwellers right now, they are likely to appear at some point in this Mandoverse. And him reminding John and Dave about it is only going to fast-track the process. Okay, well, talking to Ringerverse, Timothy Olyphant states that he remains in the dark about the future of his Star Wars character, and that he regularly checks up with Favreau and Filoni to learn anything that he can about his character's future, including whether or not he has job security for upcoming productions in the galaxy far, far away. So here's the clip itself. Let's take a look at it.
Let me tell you this. I am guilty of sending Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni a text that said, just a reminder that neither me or Cobb Vanth are dead. I just want to, every now and then I send them a text and say, guys, just a subtle, I want to give you a little reminder that neither one of us, both of us so far, alive and well.
Now you have a countdown to text them as well.
I was going to say, if you want to send John and Dave the countdown.
Give me the number again.
It's 1,360 days.
Yeah, they will be
days?
receiving a text to say, guys, just a friendly reminder, it's been 1,360 days since people have seen Cobb Vanth.
So, there you have it. It's been 1,360 days since we've seen the character of Cobb Vanth. It's been a while. But he does say that he tells them, just a reminder, you guys kept Cobb Vanth alive in a back to the tank at the end of Book of Boba Fett. Just letting you know. And as I always say, I think there is these big old whiteboards in Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau's offices that have all these connecting pieces of all these different characters and different things they're making, from all the way to Starfighter in the Ryan Gosling trilogy we talked about on Thursday, to the Mandoverse, all the way back to the Dawn of the Jedi. There are lines interconnecting all these different characters and plot points and movies and shows. And Cobb Vanth is definitely one that has a bunch of different branches coming off of it, because he's connected to so many different characters, from Boba Fett to Din Djarin to main pieces of this Mandoverse world. So if they're doing this Avengers level team up against Grand Admiral Thrawn and the remnant of the Empire, you're going to see Cobb Vanth being there. And yes, it's been 1,300 days since we've seen the character. Cobb Vanth was a character initially introduced through the Star Wars Force Awakens tie-in books The Aftermath, which revealed the state of the galaxy far, far away immediately after the first death of Palpatine. The first death of Palpatine, that's pretty good. The sacrifice of Anakin Skywalker and the destruction of the second Death Star. Should we start calling it that? The first death of Palpatine? I like that. Can we do that? Let's do that. Okay. Cobb Vanth initially worked with Jawa scavengers to uncover a certain set of Sarlacc digestive acid cover armor. Whew. Well, Boba Fett himself was living amongst the Tusken Raiders at the time, which we see in the Book of Boba Fett, and claims it for himself, the armor that is, not the Tusken Raiders. Cobb Vanth eventually becomes the sheriff for that defended the town of Mos Pelgo, which eventually becomes Freetown, managing to peacefully cooperate with the Tusken Raiders to ensure the peace of the settlement while both parties fight off criminal organizations like the Red Key Raiders interested in exploiting Tatooine's resources and the Pikes, which we see in the Book of Boba Fett. While Din Djarin and Grogu arrive on Tatooine, Cobb agrees to part ways with the Mandalorian armor, which Din needs, as long as they are able to use it to kill the Krayt Dragon, which is still a very underrated episode. That second season is so jam-packed with awesomeness that the episode, the premiere, with Cobb Vanth and Din Djarin taking down a Krayt Dragon is overlooked. Because you have Boba Fett's first introduction back into live action, or back into Star Wars, since 1983. You have Ahsoka Tano's first ever live action appearance, Bo-Katan's first ever live action appearance, Luke Skywalker coming in to save the day. All of that makes you overlook the epic facts of Cobb Vanth and Din Djarin versus a Krayt Dragon. But I digress. Take down the Krayt Dragon that is attacking both the people of Freetown and the local Tusken Raider tribes, upholding his end of the bargain. Cobb goes back. By the way, that's the first time we actually see the Tuskens being good people, too. Because they're always the bad guys. And then that sort of sets up the Book of Boba Fett. Cobb goes back to being sheriff of Freetown, later defending the settlement against the Pikes, when Din Djarin later recruits him for an upcoming conflict between Boba Fett's alliance and the Pikes. Cobb initially heads off to Mos Espa, but is seriously injured by Cad freaking Bane, who warns the people of Freetown to not interfere. Thankfully, it is later learned that Boba Fett was able to get Cobb to a healing chamber back to Tank, which for now is where Cobb's story ends. So if any of you are forgetful on what's going on with Cobb Vanth, this is it. That's his whole life story, pretty much. I actually forgot that he was introduced first in the Aftermath books. I forgot about that. But there you have it. And Cobb is currently on-screen adventures are recounted in the second season of The Mandalorian and the only season of the Book of Boba Fett, regardless of the future plans or lack thereof on Disney Plus or on film. His comments here would indicate that you won't be seeing him in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie either. In the meantime, he has had a pretty stellar turn as a more stoic in another Disney sci-fi franchise, Alien. Oh, I didn't know he's in the new Alien show. The more you know. But honestly, we always talk about how actors are lying all the time and all that stuff. It doesn't feel to me that he's lying here. You know? We always talk about how, this actor's lying. Like Bo-Katan. Like Katie Sackhoff saying she's not going to be in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. That is just a complete lie. You watch that interview and you're like, what? Are you, like, that's your best lie? Shout out Katie Sackhoff. But I don't think he's lying here. Like, I think Timothy Olyphant is telling the truth, and he's truly not going to be in the Mandalorian and Grogu, and he hasn't been told when he's coming back. I mean, maybe they've told him broad strokes ideas of, like, him coming back at some point, but he definitely hasn't filmed anything. He hasn't signed on for anything like that. But all that to say, do you want Cobb Vanth back? He seemed like such a important character they were building up, much like Cara Dune. Now, Cara Dune's situation is completely different. The actress had some off-screen stuff. Timothy Olyphant doesn't have any of that. So where is he? I guess he's hanging out with Boba Fett because he's not in it either. But my question to you, Chad, is when will we see them next? When will Boba Fett, Cobb Vanth, Chrysanthemum, Fennec Shand, and of course, last but certainly not least, and probably the most important here, the Vespa Gang. When will they all make their presence known again? Where will they appear next in the timeline? Will it be a Book of Boba Fett Season 2 if they ever make one? Will it be on Disney Plus, or will it be on the big screen, The Mandalorian and Grogu, or even the next movie down the line, which Dave Filoni is likely to produce and direct? Tell me in the chat. Whoa! Almost 90% of you think that Cobb Vanth is coming back. Oh, you want him to come back. Okay. That makes a little bit more sense. still, 90% is pretty high. That's pretty high. So where do you think he'll show up next? Mike, I hope that the Empire created Wayfair systems. What? Oh, the Wayfair system is depicted in the Mandoverse. Oh, okay. Good. Kick the tire and light the fires? Wait. Wait. What? What are we talking about? Please, no more Vespa Gang? But they have to come back. They have to. Just to have a heroic death. Here's the thing. If you think about, wait, what the hell? Okay. Sorry. I don't know what the hell this is. Why is it doing this? Okay. Sorry. My phone was being stupid. Here's the thing. Star Wars is really good at a bunch of things. Of course, it's the greatest franchise of all time. But it's good at one thing in particular. And that is seeing something that fans didn't react well to and fixing that issue. For example, Jar Jar Binks. Now, Jar Jar is awesome. Let's be honest. Me and Sam just watched The Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. We were about to start Revenge of the Sith. But Jar Jar's role in The Phantom Menace is a big one. Like, he's a main character. He's a main lead in the movie. People didn't really react well to the character of Jar Jar Binks. I personally think he's hilarious, and it fits the perfect the role that he was supposed to do. But because the reaction from fans was no thank you, George took that and, made the character a lot less important. Same can be said about a character like Rose Tico. In The Last Jedi, she has a very prominent role. Fans hated her a lot. And then in Rise of Skywalker, her role is diminished. That's sort of a worse example. I guess, it's a similar example. The same can be said about the Vespa Gang. Now, here's the thing. How cool would it be if they learned their mistake from the first one and the Vespas come back and they're like these epic, hot rod racers, and instead of the slow-mo chase scene, we get this epic fast-paced race scene and they all die. There you have it. Took me 23 minutes. I'm killing the entire Vespa Gang in one shot. They sacrificed their life for the greater good against Grand Admiral Thrawn. Because why not? Because why not? Okay. But I had to do that. Do you think there'll be a connection between The Mandalorian and Grogu and Starfighter? To be honest, I think it should, for engagement's sake. I don't think there'll be like a direct connection between those two movies, but the Mandoverse itself and the post-sequel time period of Starfighter, they will definitely be connected. I don't see how The Mandalorian and Grogu could be connected to it, like character-wise or plot-wise or anything like that. But maybe like a villain or something, or some sort of character could appear in both projects, but they're pretty far apart, like 30 years. Maybe even more than that. 30, 35 years, give or take. Please, no more Vespa Gang. We'll see. We'll see. Rada ate the Vespa Gang? Now that's a scene I don't want to see. Yeah. Mike, I found the Easter egg. Oh, it's the Endor speeder. Yes. This speeder's really cool because it has like these back legs and it sits on these back legs so that the front is off the ground. So it's like actually floating. It's pretty cool. There you have it. Okay. But where were we? Yeah. Hey, I'm trying to help. You guys are like, I don't like the Vespa Gang. I killed them all off for you in one fell swoop. Just boom, they're gone. You know what? I'll do like I did the Bad Batch. You line them all up, take Darth Vader, and chop their heads off. Like Darth Maul style. Yeah. True story. Okay. Now Sorry. Yeah. Now, speaking of actors and actresses who want to come back to Star Wars, Timothy Olyphant having not been in Star Wars for 3 years. This one's a little bit more of a deep cut. Oh, I didn't get to that super chat. Hang on. We had a super chat. Darth Plagueis lives with a very generous $10 holla. I appreciate that quite a bit. Says, so what's a realistic time on seeing Cal Kestis? Also, need more Ahsoka. Well, we'll get to Cal in a second, and I'll give you my realistic timeline on that, okay? Sound good? All right. I appreciate the super chat, though. Super chats, memberships keep the lights on over here, so I appreciate that quite a bit. All right. But there is another. There's another Star Wars actress/actor that would like to come back. And I'm very interested to see what you guys think of this. Keira Knightley. Does anybody know who Keira Knightley plays in Star Wars? Chat. Do we know who Keira Knightley plays in Star Wars, chat? What do we think? Yes. Yes. Padme's double from The Phantom Menace. The Handmaiden, indeed. So, Sabi? Is it Sabi or Sab? Sabi? 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 Subi? Sabi? Subi? Sabi? Okay. Keira Knightley wants a Star Wars spinoff focused on The Handmaiden. Sabi? Okay. So, as she puts it, we'll go pitch it to Disney. I should be getting a spinoff. I'm going to phone Ryan Gosling. Sabe. Okay. Sabe. Sabe. It's Sabe. Obviously, Chet. God. And say, dude, what happened to Sabe? So first things first, tell me in the chat, do you want this? Is this something that you would like? A Sabe spinoff show? Now, before you poo-poo the idea, chat, before you go poo-poo all over this idea, let me remind you of something. A tweet on X, formerly known as Twitter, from 6 years ago. Let me remind you of something. The Disney Plus Cassian Andor series will explore Cassian Andor's backstory in his childhood and early teens, as well as introduce Cassian Andor's sister exclusive. This was back when the Cassian Andor series was announced, and we were getting details about an Andor show. And everybody was like, who the hell wants an Andor show? Now, I will grant you that it's a very different story between Cassian Andor and Sabe. However, don't poo-poo the idea. If Tony Gilroy's writing, I'm sure many of you would want to see that. But tell me in the chat, would you want a Sabe spinoff show about Padme's handmaidens? Honestly, and maybe it's just the same thing. Again, maybe I'm just a hater, but I think there's nothing here. I would have said the same thing about Andor. Actually, I did say the same thing about Andor. I just didn't have a channel to talk about it. I thought Andor was a stupid idea. I thought it was the most, like, what are we even talking about here? We're making an Andor series? That is so dumb. And yet, it has become one of the greatest Star Wars projects in the history of the galaxy far, far away. So who am I to judge? Who am I to judge? But I'm going to judge anyway. This is stupid. Sabe? No, thank you. But tell me in the chat, you know? Tell me in the chat. Skywalker Academy, what's up? Sabe must be one of the most irrelevant characters in the Darth Vader comics. Oh, he's one of the most relevant characters. Interesting. What would this story even be about? Let's put it that way. What would this be about? Isn't Sabe the one who gets blown up in the opening scene of Attack of the Clones? Exactly, Steve. What would this be about? Oh my God. Yes, Ian. I think so. Live action seems like it would be a bit of a stretch, but a Tales of the Jedi or Tales of the Handmaiden's adventure with Sabe would be pretty interesting. Yeah, I could see a Tales for sure. I could see a Tales. Let's not forget, and again, I still think this is a horrible idea. Let's not forget, we got a 2-season, 24-episode length show about Cassian Andor. Granted, Cassian's a bigger character in Rogue One than Sabe is in The Phantom Menace, but she was the Queen of the Boo, or at least the handmaiden of the Queen of the Boo. I thought she protected the tomb of Padme and confronts Vader when he shows up. That's Sabe? No. Doesn't she die? She's not the one who dies at the beginning of Attack of the Clones? Tales of the Empire, and it's Vader's episode, but she's in it. Ooh, interesting. I could see that. Yeah, another whole show based on her. She's a baddie in the comics, so I say yes. All right. Maybe I'm wrong. Oh, it's not her that dies in Attack of the Clones. It's Corday. Who the fuck is Corday? Sorry. Language. I don't want it, but it sounds like it's up Disney Plus's alley. Honestly, kind of does. Think about the Disney Plus shows we've gotten. People would suggest a Vader show, a Palpatine show, a Luke Skywalker Jedi Temple show. And what do we get? The Mandalorian, Andor, The Acolyte. Granted, I guess a Kenobi show. That's along the lines of a Vader show type deal. A Book of Boba Fett, which, you know, Boba Fett's a pretty popular character too. I take that one back. Skeleton Crew. Now, don't get me wrong. Skeleton Crew's awesome. I love The Acolyte. The Mandalorian's a freaking masterpiece, and so is Andor. So who am I to talk? But it is a little strange because you talk about, oh, let's make a Disney Plus show. Should we make a Darth Plagueis show? How about a young Palpatine show? You know what people really want to see? Luke Skywalker when he had his Jedi Temple. You know what they really want to see? The guy who died at the end of Rogue One. Let's make 24 episodes. Let's make him have the most screen time of any live-action character in Star Wars. And make it a freaking masterpiece. Yeah. So you know what? I'm completely changing it. Flip it 180. Bring on Sabe, a Star Wars story. You know what? Give me 3 seasons, 24 episodes, no, 36 episodes. Sabe. I want it all. No, I need it all. Ron, what's up?
Hello there.
I can only imagine what it's like for somebody who's late to the party, who shows up when I'm screaming about Sabe and how they should make 3 seasons of a Sabe show. Okay, but with that being said, Cobb Vanth, Timothy Olyphant wants back in Star Wars. And by the way, 90% of you, almost 90%, 85% of you guys now want more Cobb Vanth, and I agree with that. But what about Sabe, you know? What about Sabe? What about Sabe? The thing is, Cassian Andor is like Bilbo Baggins of Star Wars. Whoa. That just blew my freaking mind. My entire Instagram and TikTok feed for some reason right now is Lord of the Rings, and that just blew my mind right there. Cassian Andor is the Star Wars Bilbo Baggins. Wow.
This is where the fun begins.
Now we're talking. Okay. But in more of a serious note, let's talk about a character that is a lot more likely to be getting their own, or maybe not their own show, but at least be incorporated into the Disney Plus side or even the movie side of Star Wars in the Mandoverse, and that is Cal Kestis. So, Cameron Monaghan, in sort of, I guess, hype, let's say, for Rebuild the Galaxy Season 2, where Cal Kestis does appear, was talking about Star Wars. And just get a load of what he had to say about this. This is coming from StarWars.com. So, also joining in on the fun, and this is like a whole panel thing, as you can see, that's Gayton, I think his name is. Gayton something. Hang on, Chad. What's his name? What's his name, Chad? Where is his name? Got to be in here somewhere. Chat? Anybody know in the chat? Gayton something. Kid from Stranger Things. This kid right here. Whatever. Sitting next to Ashley Eckstein and Cameron Monaghan. Okay? So also joining in on the fun is Cal Kestis, the star of the video game of Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor, and his real-life counterpart, actor Cameron Monaghan. Far from the days of fighting off Boogdoos? Is that what they're called in that game? And Inquisitors, this minifig Cal Kestis fits right into the levity of the Lego Star Wars world. Our games are generally for the older audience, and Cal is usually in a lot of peril and existential angst. And I would say, as he shares, it was nice to have a little bit more fun with him, and it's pretty lighthearted times. It's pretty funny because the last time we saw Cal Kestis in Jedi Survivor, he's going pretty much full dark side on all of us, like he's having a rough time, he's really losing everybody, and it's not really great. But a lot more Cal Kestis in the future, and that's sort of what Cameron Monaghan has to say. Lego Cal Kestis has all the heart of a 6-foot-tall Cameron Monaghan, and he says this: he is easily one of my favorite characters, if not my favorite character, that I've ever gotten to play. And being able to take him somewhere else is a real joy. It's really nice to be able to see him in a different way. Cameron recently told fans in a recent fan screening of Rebuild the Galaxy Pieces of the Past. So, Cameron Monaghan, I was a big fan of even before he became Cal Kestis, and this right here is pretty damn great. A lot of people know him from Shameless and love him in that. I love him as actually the Joker, or Jerome, in Gotham. Huge Gotham fan. But Cal Kestis is definitely his best role. Having played both games, I really, really want him, much like many of you guys want him to come over to live action, and I think he will soon. But for him to say this is one of his favorite characters, if not his favorite character he's ever played, with the background of characters that he's played in the past, with the discography this guy has, that's some pretty high praise. Now, they're currently working on the third Jedi game. A little bit of Star Wars video game news. EA, the company that made all the Battlefront games, Battlefront 1 and Battlefront 2, the new ones, and Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor, the parent company, because Respawn makes those games, but EA is the overarching company. They just got bought by a Saudi Arabian company for $55 billion. $55 billion. So, I got right on the phone, started calling all my Saudi friends, and was like, hey, $55 billion. EA's like around here. A guy who loves Star Wars, we're talking like up here, like at least 100 billion. But to no end, at least not yet. We're still in the negotiation phase. But even still, that does affect, or could affect, I should say, the third Jedi game. Maybe in a good way, maybe in a bad way. That is, we don't know yet. But the company is a private company, so maybe it helps because they don't have to please their stockholders, but maybe it hurts because it's no longer the same company. So it could affect the progress of how this third Jedi game is going. Either way, the third Jedi game is in the works and hopefully will be coming out over the course of the next couple years. I would hope by at least 2027 we're playing Jedi 3. Like at the very least. But that doesn't mean Cal Kestis couldn't come sooner. As a super chat sent in earlier by, I think, Darth Plagueis Lives, asks, when is the earliest, most likely place we could see Cal Kestis? Well, first things first, let me ask you guys in the chat. Where do you think we'll see Cal Kestis next? Tell me in the chat. There's a few options, okay? Well, there were a few options before. We thought maybe Skeleton Crew or Ahsoka Season 1 or anywhere, but there are a few options coming up. I don't think he'll be in Maul Shadow Lord. That would be a very big surprise, and that would be an animation. But Mandalorian and Grogu movies, an option. Probably not a good one, but an option. Ahsoka Season 2, pretty good option. In the future Mandoverse movies, if there is indeed going to be this trilogy, where do you think he'll show up in live action for the first time ever? Clan Brandalorian says Cobb Vanth is getting the N1 Starfighter from Mando and he gets his new Razor Crest. I'd be down for that. If Cobb Vanth is in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie and he gets the N1 Starfighter, sign me up. Ahsoka Season 2. I'd like to see him in Ahsoka Season 2. I wanted him in Ahsoka Season 1, but that didn't happen. But here's the deal. There's only a few surviving Order 66 people, I don't know why I phrased it that way, that are still out there. Because yes, a bunch of people survived Order 66, but we have seen those people perish. They have died. By the time of The Mandalorian, there's only a few left. A few of those being Cal Kestis, Ahsoka Tano, and Baylan Skoll. But two of those people are off in a different galaxy. So you're just left with Cal Kestis. Now, honestly, when I play the Jedi games, I think if I want two characters to interact, those two characters would be Cal Kestis and Ezra Bridger. I think those two characters would work so well on screen together. Just the two dynamics of those characters. They're very similar in a way. But I think Cal Kestis is very much like a Kanan Jarrus type character, both surviving Order 66 at a very young age and having to live on their own and survive for a while. They both sort of get their own family and join a rebellion of sorts. They have very similar stories. But in terms of Cal Kestis and how he could play into this whole thing, I think Ahsoka Season 2 is the perfect spot to put him because his connection to Dathomir, his girlfriend is a Night Sister, and we're going to see a whole war in our Star Wars with Grand Admiral Thrawn, the Night Sisters, versus the New Republic. And Grand Admiral Thrawn just so happens to have his home base on Dathomir. So if anybody can help, one person could help more than anybody, I should say, it's Cal Kestis and Marin, but Cal Kestis. The only problem with that theory is this would happen before the third game. And I don't think, people don't assume that Cal Kestis is going to die in the third game, right? Like, that's not a big thing that people want to happen. Right? I certainly hope not. You're not like me. You're not like, Cal Kestis is going to die in that third game. I think that's a pretty easy one that he's not going to die. Hey, maybe the third game actually takes place in the Mandoverse. So even if he shows up, like the events of the game could take place after he shows up. Could be. My hope and dream for Cal Kestis as a character is to get his third game, come on over to live action, play a huge role in the upcoming Mandoverse Heir to the Empire stuff, and then be a member or at least a part of Luke Skywalker's Jedi Temple. He's a character who survived Order 66. Other than Ahsoka, he's the one who can help out Luke the most in recreating a Jedi Order. And Ahsoka, of course, being off in a different galaxy, which I don't think she's coming back from anytime soon. So I think Cal Kestis could have a really bright future in terms of live action appearances. And Cameron Monaghan, although I just still think of him as the Joker because that's who I knew him as, he even says this is one of his favorite, if not his favorite, character he's ever played. Now, this actually, there's more to this. So let's read this article too. Cal Kestis, actor, says that the Jedi is easily one of his favorite characters, so that's the same quote, but look at this. Star Wars actor Cameron Monaghan couldn't be prouder of his previous work as Cal Kestis, who stars in the popular video game Jedi Fallen Order, Jedi Survivor. For Monaghan, his portrayal, he portrayed some of iconic characters on screen. Cal Kestis is his favorite one. Now, he continues by saying this. Our games are we already read that, but they're for more, older audiences. But what I didn't know was this. Cameron Monaghan casually confirmed back in 2023 that the third game starring Cal Kestis is in the works, saying, we're working on the third game. It's in progress, and we're doing all that right now. The actor said that he would love to play the character in live-action projects too, but it would have to be right. Now, I didn't really remember this. I remember the first half that they were working on the third game, but I didn't remember the live-action stuff. And it's interesting because, well, you want to value the character and not just have it be a cameo and fan service. I guess the bad version of fan service because it gets thrown around there like crazy. But the right place to do it, the fact that this character's been so connected to the Zepho, the Night Sisters, Dathomir itself, like Ahsoka Season 1 is pretty much paving the path for Cal Kestis. The Zepho writing on about Kujet, the Zepho leader, on Peridia, having Night Sisters, Thrawn going to Dathomir, like all signs, every single road sign is like, Cal Kestis, neon signs, pointing, blinking, flashing, Cal Kestis, Cal Kestis, Cal Kestis, everywhere. All of it. So it would have to be right. Well, it's almost like Dave Filoni is single-handedly paving the way for Cal Kestis to come into live action perfectly. Perfectly. Wouldn't Cal Kestis be like 46 during the time of the Mandoverse? I don't know. Let's do the math. How old is Cal Kestis Order 66? Let's look it up. Hang on. Let's look it up. How old is Cal Kestis? Oh, I've already looked this up. History. He's 12 or 13 years old. So 12 or 13 years old, let's say 20 years to A New Hope. So he's now 33. And then about 3 years for the original trilogy, give or take. 5 years after that's the Mandoverse. And then we'll add a couple years onto that. So let's say 10 more years. So yeah, he'd be about 43. Anywhere from 41 to 45, in that area. So he'd be about that age. How old is Cameron Monaghan? How old is Cameron Monaghan? Cameron Monaghan is 32? Holy crap, I thought he was older than that. Either way, a 32-year-old Cameron Monaghan, there's no way he's only 32. How old was he in Gotham? Like 19? Well, maybe Gotham wasn't that long ago. Whatever. That's besides the point. A 32-year-old Cameron Monaghan could easily play a 40-year-old. Easily. Let's look at a picture of him. Cameron Monaghan. Let's look at him. Let's look at his face. Let's stare deep into his eyes. This is Cameron Monaghan. Whoa. Whoa. This is Cameron. Zoom out here. Aha, there we go. I could pass for 40. And anyway, you could age him up a little bit. I mean, we have a 73-year-old Mark Hamill playing 25-year-old Luke Skywalker. I don't think a 32-year-old Cameron Monaghan playing a 40-plus-year-old Cal Kestis is going to be an issue. But that's just me. That's just me. Yeah. You've convinced me to give The Acolyte a second watch? Nice. That has nothing to do with this conversation, but I love it. Yes. Exactly. That's so. You know what? Cal Kestis, Sabe, Cobb Vanth, The Acolyte. I see where the math is there. I see where I'm with you. I'm with you. No. Me and Sam just finished watching The Acolyte not too long ago. She'll be on the podcast soon, and we'll talk some Acolyte for sure, like we did with the Clone Wars. Yeah. All right, can I get some good cups full of orders in the chat, please? Let me actually put up a poll before we move past this Cal Kestis stuff. Bumpa. Okay. Let's put up a poll. By the way, 85% of you want Cobb Vanth back in Star Wars. Me too. All right, let's do this. Do you think... Oops. Do you think... Oh my God, I can't type. Cal Kestis. Oh my God. Kestis. There we go. Will be in Ahsoka Season 2. No better way to celebrate the 2-year anniversary of Ahsoka Season 1 by talking about Ahsoka Season 2. Yeah. It'd be fun if Cal Kestis found his way to Peridia before Ahsoka. I don't know. Cal Kestis has already found his way to a hidden location in Jedi Survivor, Tanalorr. But, I don't know. You need to do another call-in, Mike? We can do call-ins for sure. I haven't really figured out the right way to do call-ins because I got to you guys got to prepare for these call-ins apparently. So I got to give you guys more notice, I guess. We got to make it like more of a consistent thing. Like on Saturdays, we do call-ins or something like that. I don't know. Yeah. But I don't know if I want Cal Kestis on Peridia, honestly, because that means he's probably not going to be coming back. I'd rather him be in the current universe because he can help so much more with Thrawn and the Night Sisters and all that stuff. Yeah, now? Yeah. Another cool thing to add with Cal being in the Mandoverse movie is if Merrin has to go against her own sisters, if she and Cal end up joining the New Republic, that's true. She'll have to be going up against Night Sisters, but she won't really know them, you know? Like, they'll be different Night Sisters. Yes, they'll be the same species, but yeah. Guess not. It is pretty cool, though. And what's even crazier about that is in the video games, of course, they hype up the powers and amp up the powers of certain characters. Like when Cal comes to live action, he won't be as powerful as you can make him in the game. But in terms of Merrin's powers and the Night Sister magic that she's able to use in the games, it's insane. So if any of that is transferred over to live action and into the show or into the movies, the Night Sisters are going to be a very formidable foe. Now, we get glimpses of Night Sister magic in live action in Ahsoka, but nothing like that, you know? Ventress. That's true, because Ventress is also a Night Sister, and she's seemingly alive. Last we saw her, she was alive. And she has her own apprentice, too. There's so many loose ends. There are so many loose ends that could be tied up by a Mandalorian trilogy. Cal Kestis, Asajj Ventress, all these different Mandoverse properties of Skeleton Crew, Book of Boba Fett, Mandalorian, Ahsoka, they could all come together in this massive Mandoverse trilogy. It'd be so good. So good. They got the chance here to do something really special over the next couple of years with Star Wars. And it's been leading up for the last 5 to 10 years. I mean, the first Jedi game came out in what, 2018, 19? That's 8 years ago or 7 years ago. They've been setting up that story for forever. Asajj Ventress has been since the Clone Wars back in 2008. Oh, they could do something really great here. Yeah. Everyone that does the voice animation in Star Wars looks like their characters. Cameron Monaghan looks like Cal Kestis. James Arnold Taylor looks like Obi-Wan Kenobi. I don't know about everybody. I don't know if James Arnold Taylor really looks like Obi-Wan. I mean, a little bit. But Cameron Monaghan is like, it's his face. It's purposely his face. Bo-Katan, I really don't know if that was on purpose. Like, yes, it looks like her, but I don't know if that was because they knew in the future they wanted to bring her into live action. Cameron is on purpose. The other ones, maybe not. Especially because his whole existence right now is to fight the Empire. Yeah, I mean, if anybody's going to want to destroy the remnant of the Empire and not let the Empire come back, it's Cal Kestis. You know? Yeah. Okay. Wow, this poll is 50-50 right now. Of you guys thinking that he's going to be in Ahsoka Season 2. All right, fine. We'll leave that up. We'll leave it up there for a little while. Oh, this was the thing I didn't know about either, too. So, yeah, he's known for his role as the Joker in Gotham. He also voiced Con L, Superboy. I did not know that. In 2019's DC film Reign of the Supermen. I didn't know that. But he's also joining the Tron universe. He's alongside Jared Leto as he plays Callius? Sure. A combat program and member of the Ares Elite Special Forces Unit. So I didn't know that. Cameron Monaghan's going to be in this new Tron movie. And honestly, they should be hyping up that more. I'd go and watch this if Cameron Monaghan's in it. I haven't even seen him in a trailer. Granted, I haven't really watched many of the trailers, but still. There you go. Okay. So there was that on Cal Kestis. Cameron Monaghan says it's his favorite character he's ever played. Well, let's move on a little bit here to the Knights of the Old Republic of it all. The Old Republic. Oh, one more last thing on Ahsoka Season 2. Check this out. An HD image of Rory McCann as Balin Skull. Now, this was the one that was shown at Star Wars Celebration, but it's just been, it was all very, fuzzy and a picture of a picture of a picture of a picture. And this is an actual HD image. Check this out. Now, I still have little issues with this. Sort of the same issues I had with Bail Organa in Andor Season 2, but it's just little things. Like the beard should be fully white. Like if you put it side by side, I guess, with Balin Skull, Ray Stevenson's Balin Skull. Like, yeah, it's similar, but it's not the exact same. It's a little off. So here's Rory McCann. Here's Ray Stevenson. So it's very, very white beard, all white hair. And this is a lot of sort of black in the beard. Now, here's the thing. It's very easy to change this. It's very easy to just dye his beard white and fix it. This was just a image used for Star Wars Celebration. This was before they even started filming. But this is, they got to fix that up a little bit. Now, I will say, somebody brought up a great theory. It was either on last stream or the one before it. But the great theory was, what if Balin Skull is not going to Abeloth? Or maybe he doesn't know he's going to Abeloth, but he's going to the Fountain of Youth. I mean, the power of knowledge and the Fountain of, you know what I mean? Fountain of Pool. The pool of knowledge and the fountain of power, maybe vice versa. You know what I'm talking about. Those bodies of water that give Abeloth her powers in Legends. What if Balin Skull is looking for that? And then he goes for a swim. He jumps in. Fountain of Power, thank you. He jumps in. He goes for a nice swim through those fountains and pools. Pool of knowledge. There you go. And he becomes all deformed like Abeloth did. That would be an easy way to tell why he is looking different. Like, he could be completely deformed. I'm not, obviously he's going to look like this at the beginning of the season, but I'm more so saying, like, he could come out and his face could be like melting off or something crazy like that. I think there could be a way where you could have it not be so weird, you know? That it's just a different actor. I don't think it'll be that big of an issue. It's just, got to be a little bit off. But we'll see. We shall see. When you tap into the dark side more, you have an unnatural ability to sense darkness in beards. Yeah, I mean, look at his beard. It's way darker than Balin Skull's. Balin Skull is so badass. What a great character. Okay, sorry. I got distracted. Knights of the Old Republic remake has gotten some more leaks. So more images leaked from the Aspire Media version. It is now over with, what's the new one? What is the new studio that it's working on, or that's working on it? Saber, yes. Saber Interactive. So this happened a couple weeks ago, or maybe a month or two ago, where we were looking at leaks from the KOTOR remake from before, those Wookiee Kashyyyk leaks. But this is not the first time we've gotten leaks from this game, and it's not the first time this week that we're talking about the Old Republic. So we were talking about it on Thursday, too. So let's take a look at this. The KOTOR remake leaks image show renders and features from Aspire Media. So take a look at all this. Time to rumble. Okay. Unfinished game assets from Aspire Media's version of KOTOR, the remake, have found their way online yet again. According to MP First, from the portfolio of the developer who is no longer attached to the project, so no longer working on it. Now it is in the hands of Saber Interactive. So the KOTOR remake was announced, like 4 years ago, 5 years ago? It was announced a long time ago. A long, long time ago. Yeah. Oh, hang on. Before Fearless gets out of here, it was Fearless's birthday yesterday. Can we get some happy birthdays to Fearless in the chat, please? Yeah, it's 1 a.m. where you are. Let's get some happy birthdays quickly before Fearless leaves. Happy birthdays to Fearless in the chat, please and thank you. Yeah. But it was a long time ago when this KOTOR remake was announced. Okay? And since then, it's been pretty much crickets. It has transferred studios, which is a big deal. I mean, that's going to slow things down. But what I really think is happening here is there will be a huge shift to Old Republic content at some point in the somewhat near future, 5 to 10 years, give or take. Okay? And you're going to see movies, shows, live action animated shows, games, all this stuff, comics that all revolve around the Old Republic for a long, long time. So yes, this is in production hell right now. It's really just being tossed around from studio to studio, and it's, a disaster. But what I think is actually going on is, that is one part of it. The other part is that they want to slow this down. They want the Old Republic to all happen at once, so it feels like a cohesive story as it all goes. Now, that's a little difficult when the KOTOR game works the way that it works, because you're sort of telling your own story. But even still, you want the games, comics, movies, shows all to come out around the same time. Well, let's keep going. So images show renders of blasters, vibro swords, consoles, and containers from the original updated and modern graphics. From what we can see, It looks like the set of weapons is laid across a bed. Likely, the barracks on board the Endar Spire. Endar Spire, yeah. From the opening of the game, we can see an updated version of one of the game's ubiquitous foot lockers at the base of the bed. So, as you can see right there. Wait, what? Let's take a closer look. Oh, we can take a closer look. Sick. Take a look. So, you got some pretty badass weapons. The coolest part about the KOTOR games, I mean, there's a lot of cool things about the KOTOR games, but the coolest thing about a remake of these games is just the updated graphics. It's getting this incredible story with amazing characters with just better graphics. And you look at this and you're like, holy crap, that looks unbelievable. But, I mean, it looks real. That's the best part about, yeah, right there. That's the best part about video games now is they can look ultra realistic. Like Jedi Survivor had some ridiculously cool shots in it. Ridiculously cool. But I digress. What? I'm sorry. There's a set of blaster pistols, short vibro sword tools, and what appears to be Republic soldier helmet and bracers, which is this helmet right there and then those there. More you know. Okay. Looks very polished, blah, blah, blah. So, we even got more stuff here. Whoa. Blaster. That's what I'm saying. Like, this game, if it ever were to come out, which I hope it does, never say never, it would blow up. Like, it would be enormous. Huh. Pretty crazy. Okay, sorry. I got distracted. The customizable function alone would have added a lot of value to the remake. The original game had a system where you could modify blasters and lightsabers, much like Jedi games have now. But it would not change the appearance of the weapon unless it was the lightsaber's crystal, and it would only change the stats. Not even KOTOR 2, or the still active Star Wars The Old Republic, have weapon modifications that change the weapon's appearance. So, as it says here, it would change the actual weapon's appearance. Doesn't change the weapon's appearance. This addition would bring the remake in line with the modern Star Wars titles like Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor, like I just said. So, for people who are worried that a KOTOR remake would destroy the old game, let's not forget the people who are working on this game and the people who still work at Lucasfilm are the people who, some made the first game in the first place, but others love Star Wars unbelievably and know how deeply, and probably grew up on this game, let's be honest, but how deeply people care about the KOTOR stuff, the Old Republic in general. So they're going to want to get it right. Probably why this game is taking forever. But you're pretty much taking one of the greatest games of all time, for a Star Wars fan, at least. Maybe not beloved by most. But you're taking it and you're bringing it to new, modern graphics in a canonized version. Let's not forget the biggest sell on this KOTOR remake was that it was canon to Star Wars. So whatever they did with Darth Revan would be canon to Star Wars. And that's why I think they're still waiting. They want to do Revan all at the same time, tell the story of the Old Republic, and do all that stuff when they have time to actually tell the story in full. Because right now they're working on the post-sequels and the Mandoverse stuff. I think the Old Republic is a long way away, but not too long. Again, like 5 to 10 years, give or take. And that's when this game will likely come out as well. Spoiler alert, this game will never come out. Hey, maybe, but maybe not. Let's actually pull this up. How many of you guys think that this game will never come out? By the way, 56% of you guys, wow, 56% of you guys don't think that Cal Kestis will appear in Ahsoka Season 2. That just means he will. Because we're always usually on board with these theories. If we think he's not, then he definitely is. Okay, but let's put this up. Do you think the KOTOR remake will ever get made? Yes or no? Yes or no? They'll make Revan a girl boss? Well, couldn't you make Revan a girl in the original game? I actually don't think they will give you that option because it's going to be canon. Because that was a Legends game, you could pretty much do whatever you wanted and it didn't matter. This game now matters. Much like the Jedi games. The events of those games matter. Not to the, I guess, Skywalker saga storyline too much, but they do matter. All that Zepho stuff, that's canon. You know? Yeah. The concept art is leaked from artists who are working on the game. Not currently. These are the old studio. This is the old studio that was working on it. Yeah. Again, this goes on to say, these leaks follow another sample from Aspire Media work on KOTOR, which landed online a month ago. These Kashyyyk concept art that we looked at when they came out, these right here. Like, this game would be so good if they just completed it, you know? Like, I'm still hoping that we get Star Wars Eclipse in the future. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that Eclipse trailer dropped on like a random day. I remember actually, it was early days of the channel, and I was playing video games. I don't remember what I was playing, but I remember I was like, holy crap, a Star Wars trailer just dropped. And at first, I actually didn't even know if it was a movie or not. Like, that's how good the trailer is for Star Wars Eclipse. Should we watch the Eclipse trailer right now? Should we just watch it? Maybe. But the trailer was so good that I immediately made a breakdown. And I was like, this is just, I mean, this is going to be the greatest thing ever. That was like 4 years ago. That was in such the early days of the channel. Like, that was a wild time. That was a wild time. Watch. All right, we'll watch it. Let's watch the Star Wars Eclipse trailer. Why not? Let's watch the Star Wars Eclipse trailer in October of 2025. Said no one ever. Okay, Star Wars Eclipse. I'm excited. I haven't watched this in a while. I remember the Grisk being a huge theory. It has 22 million views. I mean, come on. Come on. That's it's so freaking good. When did that drop? December 9th, 2021. Almost 4 years ago, that trailer dropped. The coolest theory about that is the Grisk, those gray people being the Grisk, because it looks to take place before the Phantom Menace. I mean, with all the Trade Federation ships and all that stuff, and you even got the Naboo starfighter in the water, one of the frames. It looks to be taking place before the Phantom Menace, but the coolest part of all of it would be the Grisk, because the Grisk are established in the Thrawn trilogies, and they're this great threat in the unknown regions. There's Jedi in that trailer. Like, if the Jedi knew about it, let's not forget that Darth Vader goes toe-to-toe with some Grisk, too, in those Thrawn novels. Like, it would set up an incredible villain. And maybe they're still setting up the Grisk for the Mandoverse or the post-sequels. I don't know. But that game could, do that even more, which would be awesome. They're not Grisk. I know they're not, technically, but, we don't know what the Grisk... We know what the Grisk look like, but we don't have pictures of them. When you look up the Grisk, this is what comes up. When you Google Grisk Star Wars, here. Grisk Star Wars. We have a description of the Grisk. That's a little bit different. When you Google Grisk Star Wars, the fourth image is the guy from the Eclipse trailer. This image of Ezra fighting one is so cool. But this is the third image. I mean, you got this stuff over here. This is, I don't even know. This is just fan art, I'm guessing, or just art in general. Like this. They don't have noses. This guy doesn't have a nose. They get mixed up with like the Vong. Like, this is the Vong. This is Thrawn. That's not the... Yeah, this is the Vong. That's not the Grisk. This is the Vong. So, they had the opportunity to do something really cool. They really did. And hey, they still do. I mean, that game could still be getting worked on right now. Still could be getting worked on right now. Yeah. There's an actual image of them. Send it over to the Discord. Send it on over. If you're talking about this from the comic here. What just happened? Oh. If you're talking about, what the heck? This image right here on the right from the comic. I mean, their faces are so just not detailed at all. This could be that. Very easily. With a helmet on or anything. There's just so much potential out there in the outer rim, the unknown regions with Thrawn and the Grisk and that whole story that I really hope they tap into with this whole Thrawn stuff. But only time will tell. That trailer is just so awesome. That trailer is just so awesome. Yeah. 22 million views. That's crazy. Let's see if anybody's commented on it recently. The top comment says, no matter how this game actually turns out, the trailer is incredibly made. Haven't seen a Star Wars game trailer this crazy since the Old Republic days. I want to see if anybody's like from 6 months ago. Just a reminder, this studio released their first trailer for Detroit Become Human in 2012. The game actually came out in 2019. Don't lose hope. Let the studio cook. Okay, that just gave me hope. This guy from 6 months ago on this 3-year-old video said, just a reminder, this same studio dropped the trailer for Detroit Become Human, which I have not played myself, but I've heard it's a really good game. They dropped that trailer in 2012, and the actual game came out in 2019. So if that math is mathing, then we'll get Star Wars Eclipse in 4 years. There you go. Took them 7 years. It's been about 3 or 4. So I guess 3 more years. 3 more years. There you have it. Let's see if anybody else commented recently. Says, anybody else forget that this exists until it pops up on the recommended feed 11 months ago. 2 months ago. When I watched this trailer, I was 13 years old. Now I'm 17 years old, and I'm watching it for the 1,000th time. I hope we get this game. That's brutal. Okay, moving back to the Old Republic. Let's get back on track here. So we get these leaks from the game that's being supposedly still worked on, which many of you do not agree with. 50-50, wow. This is exactly 50-50 right now. Okay. All right. We'll keep it up there for a while. But we have some other news in terms of the Old Republic, which we talked about on Thursday a little bit, but we're going to talk about it a lot more now. As long as Maul Shadowlord happens, it's great, and I'm good. Oh, as long as Maul Shadowlord is great, I'm good. Yeah. Mike acting like an old head being 23 is hilarious. I'm old. Was I acting like an old head? I apologize. I feel old. You know what I feel like? I feel like Grogu. You know? Like a 50-year-old child. Even though I'm not 50. But, yeah. Okay. Where were we? The Old Republic. So we talked about this article on Thursday. Primitive War director wants to adapt some of the best Star Wars stories. And it was this director named Luke Sparke, who directed Primitive War, and we watched the trailer for this and everything. It looked pretty crazy. He did it on a very shockingly low budget, all that greatness. But he said he wants to work on the Old Republic, talking about how he loves Star Wars, blah, 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 and he wanted to do an Old Republic thing. Now, it sparked the conversation online in the Star Wars universe, in the Star Wars fandom. And that is, do you want an Old Republic movie? Now, the obvious answer is going to be yes. But let's be realistic. When you look at the future of Star Wars content, you look at what's coming up in terms of movies and shows. First and foremost, shows, it's Ahsoka Season 2, and that's it. If tomorrow they announced an Old Republic show, it wouldn't really be that crazy because there is no other live-action shows out there. None. Zip. Nada. Now, if they didn't, it also wouldn't be that crazy because, they don't have any Old Republic content ready to go. However, it would be more likely a Skeleton Crew Season 2, a Kenobi Season 2, an Acolyte Season 2, fingers crossed, or a Book of Boba Fett Season 2, or something like that. However, there are no other live-action Star Wars shows for Disney Plus after Ahsoka Season 2. So, in terms of movies, on the movie side of things, we have The Mandalorian and Grogu next May, Starfighter the May after, which, by the way, could be both the beginning of new trilogies, a Mandoverse one and a Ryan Gosling-led Starfighter trilogy. But we've talked about that already. After that, right now, there is nothing with a release date. But we do know of a lot of Star Wars movies. Dawn of the Jedi by James Mangold and Mr. Willie Mon. We just talked about that this week, actually. Got a big old update. There's that. The Rey movie. Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy, Daisy Ridley's back. The Rey movie. Simon Kinberg's trilogy. Another trilogy on the way. So right now we're talking 5 movies that have not gotten release dates yet. Then you can get into the more, is it still happening type stuff like Lando, Taika Waititi's movie. There's one other one. Oh, Rogue Squadron. I feel like there's more. Maybe I'm forgetting. 8 movies. Okay? None of them have release dates yet, but they are all in different phases of development. They're also all across the board. I mean, Taika Waititi's movie was supposed to be completely disconnected from the Skywalker saga. Dawn of the Jedi is 25,000 years before everything. They're all over the place. But an Old Republic movie, although it sounds like a no-brainer, probably won't be coming up for some time. If all those movies get made first, you're talking about at least a decade until we get an Old Republic movie itself. Now, as many of you are bringing up in the comments, bring it to animation. Do other things first. A show before a movie. What would you prefer? For me, I personally think a trilogy is the best way to go into things. For example, you start with the Old Republic in a trilogy form with a movie, and throughout the trilogy, you give branch offs to different characters in shows on Disney Plus, and you do comic runs and books and all that other stuff, all at the same time. Much like they did with the High Republic. When they did the High Republic, they all got their best writers into a room, planned it out for like 4 or 5 years, and then they just did it. 3 phases, the main trilogy of books, the lower books that were branch off sort of lower characters, the comics, they all ran at the same time in a very, very, very scheduled, civilized way. So if they can learn anything from the High Republic books, it's how to plan out something like that. So if the Old Republic is planned out like the High Republic was, whew, we're in good hands. But I think a trilogy works best, or at least a movie to start, because more people are going to go watch a Old Republic movie on the big screen than people are going to go check out an Old Republic show on Disney Plus when they've never heard of it. Because we sit here and talk about the Old Republic like it's known by everybody. Normie fans have no idea what this is. It's only in video games, comics, and books. That's it. I mean, yeah, you have your cinematics and stuff, but that's it. So as much as we love characters like Revan, like Malak, like Nihilus, and all the other great Sith Lords, normie fans, they don't know who these characters are. So the best bet would be to start with a movie. But that's just me. Tell me what you think. Hashtag bring back Sabe. Oh my God. You guys are crazy. We need Tales. You can get Tales of the Old Republic after you've established this first. Is a Mando trilogy completely out of the question? No, I think a Mando trilogy is actually happening. I think it's very much in the question. I think it is the question, actually. I think Disney is for sure going to go with another movie with Hayden. Well, I do think Hayden will appear at some point in the Mandoverse trilogy, yes. Yeah. I think you'll get Luke, Leia, and Han, and Hayden. It's going to be all fan service up the wazoo. You know? Yeah, no? And if you don't read the books and comics, then you're missing out on a lot. True, but it's hard to ask all Star Wars fans to go sit down and read a book for hours on end and take in the Old Republic as it is, you know? It's not that easy to get people to do that, and most people don't. You got to be a pretty diehard Star Wars fan to even tap into any books, for that matter. You know? Yeah. I say animated series. All right, let's pull this up. Wait, we can't pull this up. This poll is exactly 50-50. We got to wait for at least one more vote on this poll before we can end the last poll. Hang on. Hang on. If somebody hasn't voted on this poll, vote on it immediately. Do you think the KOTOR remake is ever going to actually get made? It's literally 50-50 right now. We cannot end it on this. Oh, I listen to the audiobooks exclusively. I tried reading, well, I mean, I have read a bunch of Star Wars books, but it's so much easier time-wise to just listen to them. And it's awesome. I mean, they make them like a full-budget movie over there with Audible and stuff. Yeah. I think it's a bit fast for them to be diving into a Ryan Gosling trilogy without seeing how the first movie goes, like with the Mando movies. Well, honestly, I think it's going to be the exact same for both movies. If the Mandalorian and Grogu succeeds, they'll make it a trilogy. If Starfighter succeeds, they'll make it a trilogy. But until that happens, they probably won't. You know? Oh, it was 51. Oh, 51-49. 51 goes to the no. It won't get made. Okay, but let's pull this up. How should they introduce the Old Republic? Whoops. Public. In canon. We'll put it there first. Should it be movie? Movies? Or movie, I should say. Movie? Show? Live action. We'll put in parentheses. Live action. And then we'll go show animated. Or we'll just go other because there's comics, there's books, there's video games, there's other options. Okay. How should they introduce into canon for the first time the Old Republic time period? How should we get there? Yes, we're getting Dawn of the Jedi, but that's a technically different time period because, I mean, the time of Revan is not till near the end of the Old Republic, I guess, and Darth Bane and all that stuff. So that's not till the end. 25,000 years before that, or 23 or whatever it is, give or take, is the Dawn of the Jedi. Yeah. The Old Republic is too sacred. I don't know about that. You know, I think the people who love it a lot probably think so. But don't you want more content there? Don't you want to see, like, for example, some incredible, we're talking about the 2-year anniversary of Ahsoka. When you look at a scene like this, when you look at a scene like this or this, like that, or this, oh, that's way too zoomed in. Like something so epic. Don't you want that with your favorite Old Republic characters? We already have an Old Republic game, but those games aren't canon, you know? Those games aren't canon yet. Animated first and live action? I don't know if starting with animation is a good idea. Just because you want to get the most people at first in a movie is the most likely to do so. Get the attention first. Now, granted, we are getting a Mando movie, and The Mandalorian started on Disney+. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, this is, I mean, so good. Okay. Got distracted by Ahsoka versus Anakin there for a second. Okay. Moving on. So you got creators that badly grew up. First of all, much like Dave Filoni, who grew up on that Legends Heir to the Empire trilogy in that content when there was no prequel trilogy yet. And now you see him in charge of Star Wars, or in charge of creating things over at Star Wars. And he is bringing in all those Legends things that he loves, like Thrawn, like Rook, like Mara Jade, possibly, with all these recent reports about Mara Jade. Like, he's bringing in those Legends aspects of the Heir to the Empire into canon right now in front of our eyes. The same way that he does that because he was a fan of that as a kid, you're now seeing creatives who grew up on the Old Republic being old enough to make the content itself. And now they are dying to make this kind of stuff. Make the Old Republic in Star Wars. So when that happens, you end up with something like The Mandalorian. You have a director or a creator like Jon Favreau who comes over to Star Wars, who grew up on the original trilogy, loves that kind of story, loves the character of Boba Fett, and wants to create a character just like it with Din Djarin and give you aspects of that original trilogy all throughout, with Hutts and bounty hunters and all that greatness, the dirt in the criminal underworld, the scum and villainy of the original trilogy. That's The Mandalorian, and that's because of Jon Favreau. And with Dave Filoni, again, like I mentioned, you're getting those Legends aspects of the Heir to the Empire, and now you're getting creatives that are old enough, people around the mid-20s, early 30s, those people who grew up on this stuff, the Old Republic and that prequel era that want to see more of that. That's why you're getting Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor back in Star Wars, because we're old enough. We grew up in the prequels that we're old enough that we want to see more of that. And we have a voice now, you know? Yeah, no? It had some amazing cutscenes. That's true. The rule of 2 with Darth Bane should be brought into live action. Well, you can get a whole Bane trilogy or Bane show. Imagine a Darth Bane show that takes the trilogy of books and turns it into like 5 seasons of a television show. How incredible would that be? It would be like Game of Thrones. They took those books, you know the story if you've read the books, but they took those books and turned it into a show. Do people care right now that House of the Dragon, if you read the book, you already know the ending? No, they don't. Same with like the Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings. You know how it ends, but they still go and watch the movies because the story's incredible. That will be the same thing with all the Old Republic stuff, but the Darth Bane stuff in particular. Because there's a trilogy there that's already a masterpiece. You can turn that into a television show that spans for 5-6 seasons. Whew. That'd be pretty damn good. That'd be pretty damn good. Like, I think a movie will get the normies into the Old Republic better. I completely agree. You'll get more people to the box office than you will to Disney Plus. Yeah. Need Shadows of the Empire? You and me both. Where's the Sabe talk? We talked some Sabe today, you know?
I got a bad feeling about this.
Yeah. They better find someone who knows about Star Wars canon and not canon? What? I don't know what that means. But yes. Oh, okay. I don't think Disney wants to make Legends media. No, they don't. That's why they're going to bring it over to canon. That's the same thing they're doing right now with the Thrawn stuff. I think the Mandoverse, and it always has been this way since they made the first Mandalorian, it's all just a practice range. It's all just a, can we do this? Can we give a baby version of Yoda and it work? Can we bring back Luke Skywalker de-aged and it works? Can we bring back Boba Fett and it works? Can we do this and do that and it works? Can we make it a Disney Plus series about Star Wars and it work? So far, a lot of those answers have been yes. But now they're going from a TV show to a movie. Does that work? We'll see. Can we make a trilogy out of a Disney Plus character? We'll see. And can we bring Legends aspects and Legends characters like Grand Admiral Thrawn and the Heir to the Empire trilogy, change it with characters and different plot points and whatever, change it to fit canon and make it work? We'll see. If it does, though, if we get a Mando trilogy and it works, and the first trilogy, the first movie makes $1 billion, the second movie makes even more, and the third movie is this giant cultural event where everybody's going to see it because it's the final episode of the third movie and it's this huge event, and it works, then you're going to see more stuff like that happen. You're going to see Legends stories be brought over to canon with variations. For example, the Old Republic. So if the Mandoverse stuff works with Grand Admiral Thrawn, you're going to see a big shift over to more Legends content, or more Legends into canon content, and you're going to see the Old Republic be the big pile of gold. Like, they're sitting on this giant pile of gold. They're sitting on it. They just haven't looked down yet, you know? The Mando movie has to work. Oh, yeah, it does. It 1 billion% does. It's not only is it the first Star Wars movie in 7 years, but it has so much riding on the beginning of a trilogy. Star Wars going back to theaters because Starfighter is going to be affected by it too, and it's not even in the same timeline area. It's got a lot riding on it. But with that, I think it will. I really think it will. Yeah. It's had success on Disney Plus. These two characters are fan favorites. Everybody and their dog knows who the Mandalorian is. Maybe they don't know Din Djarin, but they know the Mandalorian by name. And they know this guy. Everybody knows this guy. So the seats will be filled. If it's a good movie, like a real good movie, that's when you get even the normie fans to watch it multiple times. That's when you get crazy fans like myself and you guys to watch it multiple times. You know? Cassian says it has to succeed. There you go. If K2SO says it, it has to happen. Yeah. I was never crazy about the ships being similar to the movies in KOTOR. What do you mean? Oh, like the current movies. Like they weren't different enough, you're saying? Yeah, I guess. And Zelens too, yeah. And Zelens, for sure. Star Wars has always been a place where, like George Lucas, he creates the Ewoks so that he can sell toys. Like, it's always been that sort of thing where they'll make so much off of merchandising for just Grogu. Like, just so much. I wish you could figure out and calculate exactly how much money they've made specifically off the character of Grogu over the last 6 years. Because I'm sure it's in the very, 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 very high billions of dollars. Like, billions upon billions of dollars. Yeah. The Face Off show is really good. Just started season 2. I don't even know what that is. Face Off show? I have no idea what that is. $2 to $3 billion off of merchandising on Grogu. How do we know that for sure? How do we know that? How do we know? Oh, by the way, also 11 years ago today, Star Wars Rebels premiered. So 2 years ago today, or maybe yesterday, 2 years ago yesterday, Ahsoka Season 1 premiered. And 11 years ago today, Rebels premiered. Oh, yeah, that's what I was going to show you guys. I know you guys love when I show you guys these edits that I find on TikTok, so I got a couple, okay? This first one is like, shout out to Rebels. Just take a look at this.
What manner of creature are you?
That's so quiet. And then he gets defeated by the Purgle as the arms wrap around him in a cold embrace. But that was sort of just not the one that I want to show you guys. It was just something fun I saw. Ahsoka was released on August 22nd. Yeah, no, I'm saying it ended 2 years ago. Yesterday. October 3rd, I think it was. Yeah, the season ended. 50 Thunder, what's up? All right, but there's another one I want to show you. Oh, nope, go back. Well, first of all, this one's great.
Are you with us? No. Are you with us? No.
So it says Star Wars fans when someone tells them the franchise isn't good anymore. And K2SO is Star Wars fans. And the guy says, "Are you with us?" And it says Star Wars haters. And he says no. And slaps him over the edge. Yeah. That one's pretty funny. All right, but that's still not the edit I wanted to show you guys. Oh, wrong button. Sorry. That's still not the edit I wanted to show you guys. I had a Thrawn edit and a Kenobi edit. Let's watch the Kenobi one first.
I'm not the man you remember.
Well, you're going to have to be.
I can't leave the boy.
This isn't about the boy, and you know it.
We talked about this. When the time comes, he must be trained.
Like you trained his father. It's the past. Move on. Be done with it. You couldn't save Anakin.
Anakin is dead, Ben. And I won't let you make the same mistake twice.
And what if I can't?
There is no one I trust more with my child than you. Please, old friend, one last...
Like, edits like these remind me how good these shows are. Like, yes, they have their moments of like what's going on here, like the Leia chase scene and a lot of the Reva stuff. But then you have the rematch of the century. And you're like, holy crap. And even that, those conversations, him and Uncle Owen, the like you train Anakin, like just boom, roasted. Or the conversation with Bail Organa there too, like one more time. Like that stuff is really good. Take this out.
I regret we haven't met face to face, and perhaps now we never shall. Still, I know you because I knew your master. Today, victory is mine. Long live the Empire.
Admiral Thrawn.
Grand Admiral Thrawn.
Admiral Thrawn.
Her master was General Anakin Skywalker.
Yes.
I want to know her background, history, home world, her master, everything. What was first just a dream has become a frightening reality for those who may oppose us. Just so that you understand that my intentions are genuine, I should demonstrate my power. I regret we haven't met.
So good. This was the finale, ended 2 years ago, almost to the day. Oh, Grand Admiral Thrawn. It got so much hate when this first came out because they were like, oh, he's too fat or whatever. Or he's not genius enough or whatever. He outsmarts 3 Jedi, or I guess a Jedi and a half, and leaves Baylan Skoll and Shin Hati behind and gets off Peridea. He literally just Uno reversed all of them to coming and rescuing him and then stranding them there on Peridea. What are we talking about? This guy's a freaking genius. Then he goes back. He's like, I regret that we never met face to face, but we never will. Because I won. You lost. Let's watch it again. Let's watch it again.
I regret we haven't.
When the TIE fighters come flying by him, oh, so good.
I regret we haven't met face to face, and perhaps now we never shall. Still, I know you because I knew your master. Today, victory is mine. Long live the Empire.
Admiral Thrawn.
Grand Admiral Thrawn.
Admiral Thrawn.
Her master was General Anakin Skywalker.
Yes.
I want to know her background, history, home world, her master, everything. What was first just a dream has become a frightening reality for those who may oppose us. Just so that you understand that my intentions are genuine, I should demonstrate my power.
That shot right there.
That my intentions are genuine.
So good. When the TIE fighters go screaming by him, incredible. What's true too is he goes, I know you because I knew your master. And that was just like stabbing the, already gushing wound in Ahsoka's heart. Yeah, so there's that. That one was cool. I think I have one more. Hang on. Thought I had another one here. Actually, I got a couple. What's this one?
Here you were.
Hey, we got an Andor one. You guys want us to keep watching these? I mean, we could stop. We can keep going back to the conversation we talked. These edits are pretty awesome. Maybe to me, but maybe not to you guys. I don't know. Should we keep watching the edits? Yes or no? Yes, no, maybe so. Long live the Empire. Long live the Empire. 50 Thunder with a very generous $2 holla says, sorry I'm late. Thanks for everything. Thank you for everything, 50 Thunder. And how dare you be late? How dare you? You guys want to see this Andor? I mean, we don't have to watch it. It's Dedra Miro. And by the way, can we talk about Andor for a second? I know it's been like a while. It's been a while ago since we watched this, but this, it's 3 minutes long. Did we watch the whole 3 minutes? You know what? Let's watch this the first couple seconds.
Here you were, all that time, hiding in the shelter of imperial peace and quiet. You disgust me.
Do you want to know why?
Everything you stand for.
Freedom scares you.
Freedom is a pure idea. It occurs spontaneously and without instruction.
Freedom. You don't want freedom. You want chaos. chaos for everyone but you.
And what do you sacrifice?
Ruin the galaxy and then run back to your ridiculous wig and little workshop.
Calm, kindness, kinship.
You know what's funny? She kind of has a point here. She kind of has a point. Dedra, from her perspective, okay? She grew up on the Empire, of course, or in her later years, and she's looking at this guy as a coward hiding in plain sight as she's trying to save the galaxy because he's making chaos for her and she's trying to stop that chaos. It's not until she realizes that it's over for her in that interrogation scene with Krennic. And then she's like, well, I'm screwed. Cyril got out. He figured it out. But she could not.
Love, how confident you are. I've given up all chance at inner peace. I made my mind a sunless space.
The building is surrounded. You're finished.
Now you're too late. The rebellion isn't here anymore. It's flown away.
Random acts of insurrection are occurring constantly throughout the galaxy.
It's everywhere now.
Whole armies, battalions have no idea that they've already enlisted in the cause.
There's a whole galaxy out there waiting to disgust you. Revolution's so expensive.
You told me we were building a network.
I share my dreams with ghosts.
This is something else entirely.
I wake up every day to an equation I wrote 15 years ago for which there's only one conclusion. You need the fear. You need them to overreact. I'm damned for what I do.
People will suffer.
That's the plan. My anger, my ego, my unwillingness to yield.
You think I'm crazy?
My eagerness to fight.
Yes, I am.
Revolution is not for the sane.
They set me on a path from which there's no escape.
Revolution is not for the sane.
I yearn to be a savior against injustice without contemplating the cost, and by the time I look down, there's no longer any ground beneath my feet.
Imperial need for control is so desperate because it is so unnatural. Tyranny requires constant effort. Authority is brittle.
What is my sacrifice? I'm condemned to use the tools of my enemy.
Oppression is the mask of fear.
I burn my decency for someone else's future. Oppression breeds rebellion. I burn my life to make a sunrise that I know I'll never see.
Look at us. Unloved, hunted, cannon fodder. We'll all be dead before the Republic is back. And yet, here we are.
Well, the ego that started this fight will never have a mirror or an audience or the light of gratitude.
The day will come when all these skirmishes and battles, these moments of defiance will have flooded the banks of the Empire's authority, and then there will be one too many.
We cannot let 1,000 years of democracy disappear without a fight.
Remember this. Try.
Welcome to the rebellion. What do I sacrifice? Everything!
Ooh. So good. Shout out K Star Wars for the edit. That was awesome. Yes, Joe, you can send me one. If I get rickrolled again here, I'm gonna lose it. But yeah, I mean, Andor speaks for itself. Peak. Okay, let me see if this one's good.
Annie, are you all right?
This one's kind of brutal. Not gonna lie.
Annie, are you all right?
That stuff. Okay. That kind of blows. That's a tough one.
The asset wants to be terminated.
Actually, we're not gonna watch that one. Copy strike reasons. This one. Nope, not that one either. Okay. You sent one to the Discord. You guys are not yet in the Discord. There's a link in the description below to a Discord called The People Who Love Star Wars. Go join it immediately. Go join it immediately. Did you send it there? Where'd you send it at? I'm not seeing it. Oh, you sent it on Instagram? Hang on. Where'd you send this at? Oh, you sent it on Instagram. Okay. How long is it? 3 minutes? 3 minutes? Pretty long one. Should we watch it? Do we dare? 50 Thunder with the 8-month membership. Oh, I missed a super chat. Hang on. Not a Fed with the very generous $2 holla says, talk Anakin news to me already. JK, LOL. Well, you know what? There isn't any. I mean, we talked about the leaks already of Force Ghost Anakin versus Bale and Skull, or at least Hayden Christensen versus Rory McCann on set of Ahsoka Season 2. We don't know if it's present day or post or prequel. Flashbacks. Yeah. It's good, I promise. All right, I'm taking your word. Let's watch it.
You don't look happy.
They prefer to surrender.
And you?
She wants to fight.
So do I. We all do.
The Force is strong.
I'm not sure 4 of us is quite enough.
They were never gonna believe you.
Be around when things go bad.
Welcome home.
May the Force be with us.
That was pretty good. That was pretty good. I mean, I just remember before Andor Season 2 came out, they were talking about how this is going to change the way you watch Rogue One and all that. I was like, come on, how is that even possible? And it changes it so much. I mean, when you watch Rogue One now, you think of all these things that came before, all the stuff that in Andor work so well with this movie. For example, I mean, the conversation later on in the movie, or before this in the movie, I should say, when Cassian's talking about like what he's been through, and now we know exactly what he's been through. Also, the Luthen stuff, because she doesn't have, Jyn Erso doesn't have the message from her dad, and Cassian's like, good luck getting them to believe you, because when he tries to get them to believe about what Luthen tells him, they're like, nah, we're good. Oh, it's so good. So good. Andor Season 1, Season 2, and Rogue One is such a brilliant trilogy. Might be one of the greatest trilogies of all time, actually. It's the greatest non-trilogy trilogy of all time, for sure. All right, but with that, we do have to get on out of here. We've just passed the 2-hour mark. I don't know how we did that, but I'm very glad we streamed today. I was actually thinking about canceling it completely because I couldn't get live at 2, and I'm glad we did it because you guys are awesome, and this was a blast. Anyway, let me end this poll. In a crazy week of news, Star Wars news, from leaks about the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, about Ahsoka Season 2, to Mando and Grogu movie news, to Starfighter trilogy, possibly Ryan Gosling led, to even Old Republic, Cobb Vanth, and Sabe. You know? Just some good old Sabe. But it's been a crazy time. Absolute crazy time to be a Star Wars fan, and I hope the news just keeps on coming because it makes things entertaining for us. But only time will tell. Smash a freaking like in this stream if you have not already. How many likes do we have, chat? Am I going to be upset? Am I going to be upset? That's not too bad. That's not too bad. But until next time, hope smash a freaking like in the stream, hit that subscribe, all that greatness, and may the Force be with you. Always. Oh, yeah. What a great stream. What a great show. You guys are the absolute best. I appreciate you all so much more than you'll ever know. This was quite a crazy stream. Quite a crazy stream. We went all over the place today. We lost our minds. It was fun. But until next time, hope you have a great rest of your evening, great rest of your lives, and good night, everybody.